All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate 12-kilometer stretch of Pune Metro Rail project today. More than 84% polling recorded in second and final phase of assembly elections in Manipur. Polling for seventh and last phase of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh to be held tomorrow. Another 13 flights to bring home 2,500 Indian nationals stranded in Ukraine today under Operation Ganga. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett meets Russian President Putin in Moscow and offers to mediate. Visa and Mastercard suspend operations in Russia over Ukraine issue. Indian Navy successfully demonstrates accuracy of BrahMos supersonic cruise missile from stealth destroyer INS Chennai. India beat Denmark 4-0 to stay put in Davis Cup Tennis World Group 1 playoff. And in Women's World Cup cricket, match between India and Pakistan underway at Mount Maunganui in New Zealand. As we start the bulletin, we appeal to our listeners to stay safe from COVID-19 by following these 4 simple steps. Get fully vaccinated, wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Pune today and inaugurate the Pune Metro Rail project. He will also inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of various development projects. At around 11 a.m., Mr. Modi will unveil the statue of Sri Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj in the premises of Pune Municipal Corporation. The statue is made up of 1,850 kg gunmetal and is about 9.5 feet tall. The Prime Minister will inaugurate Pune Metro Rail project at around 11:30 a.m. This project is an endeavour to provide world-class infrastructure for urban mobility in Pune. Foundation stone of the project was also laid by the Prime Minister on 24th of December 2016. Prime Minister will inaugurate 12-kilometer stretch of the total 32.2-kilometer Pune Metro Rail project. The entire project is being built at a cost of more than 11,400 crore rupees. He will also inaugurate and inspect an exhibition at Garware Metro Station and will undertake a metro ride from there to Anandnagar Metro Station. At around 12 noon, the Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone and inaugurate multiple developmental projects. He will also lay the foundation stone of rejuvenation and pollution abatement of Mulla Mutha river projects. Rejuvenation will be done in 9-kilometer stretch of the river at a project cost of more than 1,080 crore rupees. The Prime Minister will also launch 100 e-buses and e-bus depot constructed at Baner. Mr. Modi will inaugurate the R.K. Lakshman Art Gallery Museum constructed at Baliwadi, Pune. The main attraction of the museum is a miniature model based on the village of Malgudi, which will be made alive through the audio-visual effects. Senior BJP leader and Union Home Minister Amit Shah has expressed confidence that the BJP will again form the government with good majority in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Goa and Manipur, where it was in government. Addressing a joint press conference with BJP President J.P. Nadda in New Delhi, Mr. Shah said the party will perform well in Punjab as it has fought the election with its allies. He said in these 5 states, the popularity of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is way above the popularity of any Prime Minister of independent India, and BJP is getting direct benefit of this in these 5 poll-bound states.
किसी के घर में चले जाइए तो उनके पूछिए कि माई क्या मिला, तो उसने कहा मुझे तो सब कुछ मिला है, घर भी दे दिया, गैस भी दे दिया, टॉयलेट भी दे दिया, शुद्ध पीने का पानी भी आता है, मेरे पास कार्ड भी है और चूल्हा चलाने के लिए मोदी ने अनाज भी भेजा है। जब ये सुनते थे तो सार्वजनिक जीवन के कार्यकर्ता के नाते खूब संतोष और आनंद का अनुभव होता था। इसके कारण स्वाभाविक रूप से ये पांचों राज्यों में आजाद भारत के बाद किसी भी प्रधानमंत्री की लोकप्रियता से ऊपर चरम सीमा पर दिखाई पड़ी और इसका सीधा फायदा भारतीय जनता पार्टी को होता हुआ इस चुनाव में दिखाई पड़ा है। और मैं इसलिए विश्वास के साथ कह रहा हूं कि हम चारों राज्यों में फिर से सरकार बनाने जा रहे हैं।
Party President J.P. Nadda also expressed confidence that BJP will retain power in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Goa and Manipur with a comfortable majority. Mr. Nadda said that a positive response was seen in all the poll-bound states with regard to the various welfare and developmental schemes being implemented by the Narendra Modi government. He also thanked the people across 5 states for following all COVID protocols during elections.
More than 84% polling was recorded in the second and final phase of assembly elections in Manipur. Voting was held for 22 assembly constituencies spread over 10 districts in this phase yesterday. These districts are Thobal, Kakching, Tamenglong, Noni, Jiribam, Chandel, Tengopal, Ukhrul, Kamjong and Senapati. 92 candidates including 2 women are in the fray in this phase. BJP has fielded 22 candidates while Congress contested 18 seats. NPP and NPF had fielded 10 candidates each. The state had recorded 89% voter turnout in the first phase of assembly elections, which was held on February 28. Counting of votes will be taken up on 10th of March. Polling for the 7th and last phase of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh will be held tomorrow. 54 constituencies spread over 9 districts will go to polls in this phase. A total of 613 candidates are in the fray for this phase. Campaigning for this phase ended yesterday evening. Senior BJP leader and Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting with intellectual class of Varanasi yesterday. Mr. Modi also addressed a rally in Khajuri area of Varanasi. Samajwadi Party President Akhilesh Yadav also campaigned in Varanasi. Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra held a road show in Varanasi. A report.
The 9 districts which will go for poll tomorrow are Azamgarh, Mau, Jaunpur, Ghazipur, Chandauli, Varanasi, Mirzapur, Bhadohi and Sonbhadra. These districts are in Purvanchal region of a state which is considered backward. A large section of society is working here in power loom industry, and in recent years, government has tried to develop this industry and promoted also the agriculture products of the region. In political terms, it has a win-win situation for all parties. While Varanasi is in focus because of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Azamgarh is considered as a bastion of Samajwadi Party. Many ministers of state government like Neelkant Tiwari, Anil Rajbhar, Ravindra Jaiswal and Sangeeta Balwant Bind are contesting in this phase. Many important leaders of opposition like Shadab Fatima, Om Prakash Rajbhar and Dara Singh Chauhan are also in fray. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Varanasi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a high-level meeting on the Ukraine issue last night. The meeting was attended by Union Ministers Dr. S. Jaishankar and Piyush Goyal, along with National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla and other senior officials. Mr. Modi has been continuously holding high-level meetings on the Ukraine crisis since the beginning of the conflict. During the meetings, Mr. Modi has been reviewing the ongoing efforts under Operation Ganga to bring back Indians stranded in Ukraine. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has said that another 13 flights under Operation Ganga will bring home 2,500 Indian nationals stranded in war-torn Ukraine today. More than 13,000 Indian nationals have already returned to India from Ukraine's neighbouring countries under Operation Ganga. Briefing media in New Delhi, External Affairs Minister spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said that 15 flights have landed in the last 24 hours with around 2,900 passengers on board yesterday. He said almost all Indians have now left Kharkiv city, which is a very positive development as the area remained a cause of concern from the last few days.
During the last 24 hours, 15 flights have landed, around 2,900 Indians on board. So if you add that to the previous numbers, we have approximately 13,300 people who have returned to India on the flights by 63 flights under Operation Ganga. Some more flights, of course, will take off now.
Mr. Bagchi said that the main area of focus is now in Sumy of Ukraine, and India is in touch with all concerned regarding the possible movements of the students, and the best option for it would be a ceasefire. He said for this, India have been strongly pressing Russian and Ukrainian sides to allow this kind of local ceasefire to create a safe corridor for Indian students. Indian Embassy in Ukraine said that all Indian citizens have been evacuated from Pisochin, and it will continue to remain in touch with them through their journey. In a tweet, the embassy said that their safety has always been India's priority. It has urged the Indian citizens to be safe and strong. Meanwhile, another batch of passengers from war-hit Ukraine has arrived in Mumbai in the early hours today via a special flight under Operation Ganga. An EIR India Express flight has flown back 182 people, mostly students studying in Ukraine, from Romania's capital Bucharest. Union Minister of State for Panchayati Raj Kapil Patil welcomed them at the airport. A C-17 aircraft of Indian Air Force landed at Hindon Air Base near Delhi this morning with 210 Indian nationals evacuated from Ukraine.
The Ukrainian President's office said civilian evacuation has been halted in an area of the country where Russian defense officials had announced a temporary ceasefire. Kirilo Timoshenko, the deputy head of President Volodymyr Zelensky's office, said the evacuation effort was stopped because the city of Mariupol remained under fire yesterday. He said the Russian side is not holding to the ceasefire and has continued firing on Mariupol itself and on its surrounding area. Talks with the Russian Federation are going on regarding setting up a ceasefire and ensuring a safe humanitarian corridor. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow yesterday to discuss the Ukraine crisis. Israeli Prime Minister's office confirmed the meeting at the Kremlin, which came just days after Mr. Bennett spoke over the phone with both Russia and Ukrainian leaders. Israel, which is home to a substantial population of Russian immigrants, has offered to mediate in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Israeli officials have, however, played down expectations of a breakthrough. Mr. Bennett was accompanied by Housing Minister Zeev Elkin, National Security Advisor Eyal Hulata, and Diplomatic Advisor Shimrit Meir.
The next round of talks between Ukraine and Russia will be held tomorrow, Ukrainian official David Arakhamia said. Arakhamia is head of the parliamentary faction of President Volodymyr Zelensky's Servant of the People Party and a member of Ukraine's delegation at the talks. It will be the third round of talks as the two sides try to negotiate a ceasefire and safe passage corridors for civilians. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said Russia is ready for a third round of talks on that and other issues. U.S. payments firms Visa and Mastercard said they are suspending operations in Russia over the Ukraine issue. Two companies said they will work with their clients and partners to cease all transactions in Russia. In a statement, Chief Executive Officer of Visa, L. Kelly, said the company is compelled to act following Russia's unprovoked action against Ukraine. Mastercard said its cards issued by Russian banks will no longer be supported by Mastercard networks, and any card issued by the company outside Russia will not work at Russian merchants or ATMs.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate 12-kilometer stretch of Pune metro rail project today. More than 84% polling recorded in second and final phase of assembly elections in Manipur. Polling for seventh and last phase of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh to be held tomorrow. Another 13 flights to bring home 2,500 Indian nationals stranded in Ukraine today under Operation Ganga. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett meets Russian President Putin in Moscow and offers to mediate. Visa and Mastercard suspend operations in Russia over Ukraine issue. Indian Navy successfully demonstrates the accuracy of BrahMos supersonic cruise missile from stealth destroyer INS Chennai. India beat Denmark 4-0 to stay put in Davis Cup Tennis World Cup 1 playoff. And in Women's World Cup cricket, match between India and Pakistan underway at Mount Maunganui in New Zealand. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back to Morning News on All India Radio. Indian Navy successfully demonstrated the accuracy of an extended-range land attack BrahMos supersonic cruise missile from the stealth destroyer INS Chennai yesterday. The missile hit its intended target with pinpoint accuracy after traversing an extended-range trajectory and performing complex maneuvers. This achievement establishes the Indian Navy's ability to strike even deeper and influence land operations further away from sea when and where required. Both BrahMos missile and INS Chennai are indigenously built and highlight the cutting edge of Indian missile and shipbuilding prowess. They reinforce the Indian Navy's contribution towards the Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India endeavours. India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 178 crore 80 lakh mark. Union Health Ministry said that more than 23,23,000 vaccine doses were administered yesterday. It said over 2 crore 6 lakh precaution doses for the identified categories of beneficiaries for COVID vaccination have been administered so far. They include healthcare workers, frontline workers and people over 60 years of age.
In Kerala, special immunization drive will be held to cover pregnant women and children who have not received periodical vaccinations under the National Immunization Program during the pandemic spell. According to a Health Department release, a week-long special immunization drive will be organized in 3 phases beginning tomorrow. The special drive will continue till May this year, the release said. And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News, Birth of a Nation.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
বারুদ ভরা স্বপ্ন বুকে স্বাধীন হবে দেশ রে স্বাধীন হবে দেশ ও মা তোর ছেলেরা ঘর ছেড়েছে।
In today's episode, we remember revolutionary freedom fighter Ambika Chakrabarti, who died on the 6th of March 1962. He was a member of the Indian Republican Army, which was led by Masterdar Surya Sen. He later became a member of the Chittagong Jugantar Party.
বারুদ ভরা স্বপ্ন বুকে স্বাধীন হবে দেশ রে স্বাধীন হবে দেশ।
On the 18th of April 1930, Chakrabarti led a group of independence activists who damaged the whole communication system in the region of Chittagong. He became severely injured in a gunfight against the British Indian Army in Jalalabad on the 22nd of April 1930, but managed to escape. A few months later, Ambika Chakrabarti was detained by the British police from his hiding place and was sentenced to death after the trial.
Later, the death sentence was altered to transportation for life to the cellular jail in Port Blair. After independence, Ambika Chakrabarti joined politics and continued to serve people till his death in 1962. We salute the great nationalist.
We also remember the freedom fighter Moturi Satyanarayana, who died on the 6th of March 1995. An ardent Gandhian, Moturi participated in the Quit India movement of 1942.
After India became independent, Moturi was a member of the Constituent Assembly of India from 1948 to 1950. He served as a member of the Committee of the Indian Constitution for its language section. Moturi was twice nominated to Rajya Sabha. He was also a member of the Madras Legislative Council and the Central Advisory Board of Education of the Government of India.
Moturi actively worked towards promoting the Hindi language in the southern part of India from 1936 to 1961. He had joined the Dakshin Bharat Hindi Prachar Sabha as a volunteer and gradually became the secretary and principal secretary of the organization. He was the editor of Hindi Pracharak, Hindi Prachar Samachar and Dakshina Bharat. He organized many institutions all over India such as Dakshina Bharat Hindi Prachar Sabha of Madras and was the founding secretary of Telugu Bhasha Samiti of Madras and Hyderabad.
Moturi was a recipient of the Padma Shri Award in 1954 and the Padma Bhushan Award in 1962. Andhra University honoured him with its Kala Prapurna Award in 1977. We salute the great Indian.
We also remember martyrs Bal Mukund Khuda Bakhsh of Delhi and Shiv Ghulam Dubey of Haryana, who participated in the First War of Indian Independence in 1857. They were executed by hanging on the 6th of March 1858. We salute the great sons of the soil.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
आजादी के आंदोलन के खजाने में ऐसे ढेरों शब्द जिन्होंने बदल दिए इतिहास। तारीख बदलने वाले लफ्जों पर आकाशवाणी समाचार प्रसारित कर रहा है विशेष कार्यक्रम धरोहर हर सोमवार।
As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Jan Utsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz is conducted every Monday and Tuesday in Morning News. The next question of Amrit Mahotsav quiz will be shared with listeners on Monday, 7th of March.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has urged the private sector to play a more proactive role in providing a huge thrust to infrastructure growth. Addressing the members of Hyderabad chapter of the CEOs India, he asked them to strive together in building Atmanirbhar Bharat. Stating that the country has the potential to become a global economic powerhouse, he emphasized the need for all stakeholders to join hands to ensure a sustained economic momentum. Elaborating on the government's measures to revive the economy and create an investor-friendly atmosphere, the Vice President said the industry must rise to the occasion, seize opportunities, promote competitiveness, innovation, and strive for wealth creation and employment generation. Union Minister for Finance Nirmala Sitharaman has laid the foundation stone for the National Academy of Customs, Indirect Taxes and Narcotics near Palasamudram in Anantapur district, Andhra Pradesh. The Finance Minister has earmarked 730 crore rupees for the establishment of the institute. She arrived by a special flight at Bengaluru International Airport to participate in the Bhumi Pujan for the commencement of works of the academy near Palasamudram. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed condolences over the passing away of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee's long-time aide Shiv Kumar Parikh. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, firmly rooted in BJP's ideology, he devoted himself to service, nation building and worked closely with Atalji. The Prime Minister said he will cherish his interactions with him over the years.
Ace duo of Rohan Bopanna and Divij Sharan overcame spirited resistance from Fredrik Nielsen and Michael Topegaard to give India winning lead as the hosts overpowered Denmark 4-0 in the Davis Cup World Group 1 playoff at the Delhi Gymkhana Club yesterday. The visiting pair surprised the hosts by winning the first set, but the settled India duo regained their rhythm soon and won the next two hard-fought sets to wrap up the tie and the match in 118 minutes. Later, in an inconsequential reverse single, Ram Kumar Ramanathan beat Johannes Ingildsen 5-7, 7-5, 10-7. The fifth match was not played. In Women's World Cup cricket match between India and Pakistan, which is underway at Mount Maunganui in New Zealand, India were 134 for 6 at the end of 37 overs against arch-rival Pakistan when reports last came in. Indian skipper Mithali Raj won the toss and decided to bat first in the opening fixture at the Bay Oval ground. No Asian country has won the Women's ODI World Cup before. Both teams are meeting in an ODI for the first time since 2017 ICC Women's Cricket World Cup. Hockey India has announced a list of 33 players each for India A men's and women's probable group. Former Indian men's hockey team captain Sardar Singh has been named as a coach of India A men's side. Former Indian men's hockey team forward and two-time Olympian Deepak Thakur has been named as a coach of India A women's team. Tokyo Olympic bronze medalist duo of Rupinder Pal Singh and Birinder Lakhra, as well as veteran forward SV Sunil, also returned from retirement as they were named among the men's 33 probables to be eligible for selection for the Birmingham CWG team. Both the teams will begin their national camp at the SAI Centre in Bengaluru tomorrow.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. Srinagar will have partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy later. Temperature will hover between 4 and 15 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy later. Minimum temperature was 11 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 24 degrees. Leh is likely to have generally cloudy sky. Minimum and maximum temperature will hover between -5 and 4 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will have partly cloudy sky. Temperature will hover between 6 and 19 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will have thunderstorm with rain. Minimum temperature was 9 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 16 degrees. National capital Delhi is likely to have partly cloudy sky. Temperature will vary between 13 and 28 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was 22 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 38 degrees. Chennai is likely to have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Temperature will vary between 23 and 31 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was 22 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 32 degrees. Bengaluru will have mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was 18 degrees Celsius while maximum will be around 32 degrees. Thiruvananthapuram will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Temperature will hover between 25 and 35 degrees Celsius.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. A top front page headline in Hindustan Times says, Russia-Ukraine ceasefire to pull out civilians collapses. The paper adds, Europe witnesses massive internet outage in widespread cyber attack. The Indian Express reports in 24 hours flights returned with nearly 3,000 people. Adding, the paper writes, Indians unable to use ceasefire routes, government seeks safe corridor for students. Sunday Pioneer writes, milestone, 3 crore 15 to 18 years old fully vaccinated. Women surpass men in state polls turnout, notes the Times of India. The same paper notes, government planning major revamp of higher education by 2035. E-vehicle industry providing momentum with more women in auto design field cities, the Economic Times. Amid Ukraine war, India's financial year 22 wheat exports seen at a record 7 million tons, reports a Hindu business line. And finally, in an inspirational story, the Hindu writes about a recently opened pink police chowki in Delhi, imparting vocational skills to sex workers and their children under the headline, At GB Road, a chance to learn and live.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate 12-kilometer stretch of Pune Metro Rail project today. More than 84% polling recorded in second and final phase of assembly elections in Manipur. Polling for 7th and last phase of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh to be held tomorrow. Another 13 flights to bring back 2,500 Indian nationals stranded in Ukraine today under Operation Ganga. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett meets Russian President Putin in Moscow and offers to mediate. Visa and Mastercard suspend operations in Russia over Ukraine issue. Indian Navy successfully demonstrates accuracy of BrahMos supersonic cruise missile from stealth destroyer INS Chennai. India beat Denmark 4-0 to stay put in Davis Cup Tennis World Group 1 playoff. And in Women's World Cup cricket, match between India and Pakistan underway at Mount Maunganui in New Zealand. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.